Yeah, so Alphabet, miss on revenue, the first miss on revenue in a very long time, at least 4 quarters. They had an EPS beat that was very, very small, a beat of about 1%. Previous quarters were 14.7, 2.5, and 25.6. The interesting thing, though, I think what rattled people was the Google Cloud number. And isn't it wild that Google Cloud can't make the stock rock and roll, yet it comes in and they miss on that, and the entire stock crater. So I went in, checked the checked the transcript, and sure enough, capacity issues, right? Issues in operations. Very similar story as we've discussed with AWS and Microsoft. One thing that I want to point out, though, is were some of the big wins that Google Cloud had. So first and foremost, big increase in op inc dollars and op inc percent. Huge acceleration of Vertex AI, which is an end-to-end AI platform. Check out my call-outs on X that I pulled from the transcript. And also, last but not least, Google Cloud is outpacing market growth on a percentage basis and hence gaining market share.
Yeah, and I mean, you and I always have to put that little caveat of inconsistent reporting that always makes it a little bit hard to know what's, kind of banged into these cloud numbers that they all use. But I mean, I think over a period of time, when you see the delta of, mid-teens to low 20s versus high 20s to mid 30s, that you have to imagine that there is some tightening of market share. I think AI, like I've said a lot, Pat, AI was a big reset moment. I mean, I still think Google and Alphabet, but Google specifically as it relates to the cloud, has done really good in terms of this era and being in a good position in this AI era. I think some very, very good moves have been made. I think Vertex has been a compelling product. I think there's sort of provenance in the AI space with Brain and DeepMind. It gave the company a bit of a permission early on to come in and show they've been a customer zero with TPU. They spent almost a decade building AI accelerators for their own use cases. They've really barely started to make that any sort of meaningful revenue instance, but I would imagine at some point in the future that will continue to be a diversification play for the company. I mean, they train Gemini and Pro on their own silicon. It's not necessarily winning the market share yet. Gemini's definitely behind. But I think based on its install base inside of Apple phones, the install base on Android platforms, the install base with my grandmother and everyone that uses Google and doesn't use, LLMs as a search mechanism, does give Google, I think they probably have the second biggest pass on winning early market share besides Apple when it comes to the generative users, because I think their sort of core install base is so substantial. And, by the way, did you see OpenAI is supposed to be raising money at $260 billion valuation? This in less than a year, they've gained another $100 billion in valuation while continuing to lose money. And someone copied their model for $4 and 6 shoestrings and a paperclip. But I really cannot understand how this is not like, I think Matsushi's son, I think he's going to come out that he's wearing a Bernie Madoff mask. I don't know if this is like a secure kind of racket or what's going on. I just can't get to there, but maybe there's something with AGI that you and I just don't know about. I mean, they don't call me.
Man, let's talk about all this in 9 minutes.
Did I get off topic? I do that a lot. Anyway, so Google's, I had a lot of commentary across the web about this. I'm just not spooked at all about this stuff. I think the spend is legitimate. I think there's a reason these companies are smarter than FinTwit. I apologize. It's just the case.